Next up in the supportive space arena here today is Access All Areas, Making the World More Accessible with Claire Dior. Claire is from the fabulous charity Euan's Guide and is a passionate advocate for disability rights and accessibility, bringing insights from her working improving environments and attitudes to ensure inclusion for all. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to Claire.
Thank you for joining me today for this presentation. I will go on to the next slide. There we go. Welcome to my presentation. This is myself, Claire. I'm one of the volunteer co-ordinators at Euan's Guide, and I job share with Zoe, who is also on the image here as well. So today I'm just going to speak about a little bit what Euan's Guide is about and how people can get involved with us. So before I start, has anyone heard of Euan's Guide before? A few hands in the audience. So you'll see that we look a little bit different now. So this year we've been rebranding Euan's Guide. Then we have new logos, new colour schemes, and hopefully next week we'll have a new website to go alongside all of this. As you can imagine, lots of testing has been done, then it has been delayed a little, but yet hopefully next week we will have that. So what is Euan's Guide? For those that haven't heard of us before, we're a disabled access charity. So we're well known for our website, euansguide.com. And this is a disabled access review website where people are able to share their experience of visiting venues and what accessibility features they encounter when they go there. So disabled people, their family, friends, carers, and even professionals are able to share access information on any public venue that they visit. So the important thing about our reviews are that it's written by people that know what they're looking for, so they know what access information is needed out in the community, and they provide as much information as possible to ensure that people have a stress-free visit and they're able to confidently visit new venues. So we have a lot of positive reviews on our website, but as you can imagine, there are a few negative reviews. But we need that mixture because we don't want people turning up to a venue and discovering there's a step. So people need to know what is there before they visit. So this is our founder, Euan McDonald. So Euan was diagnosed with motor neurons disease around 20 years ago, and himself and his sister TT discovered how missing information there was for access, that you were having to research constantly before going out the front door, and it was just very tiresome. And they discovered they're not the only people that have this experience. So they built euansguide.com, and unfortunately Euan passed away last year. So we're carrying on his legacy, and we're carrying on his vision to make the world a more accessible place. And our logo that we have now for Euan's Guide is Euan's handwriting, so he is still part of everything we do. So when Euan was first diagnosed with MND, he visited 2 different sorts of venues. So he visited T in the Park, and he was a bit apprehensive about going here because wheelchairs and muddy fields are not a good combination. But he was pleasantly surprised of the accessible features like viewing platforms that you were able to take your wheelchair on. There was buddies to take you from one area to the other so that you didn't have to drive in the muddy fields. And then he visited someplace else that we own mention, but there was stairs to get into the music venue, then he actually got paid to leave this venue because it just wasn't accessible for him. So those two different situations, if he knew that information before he went, he would have had a much better experience leading up to that. So how do people get involved with Euan? As I say, our main way is through euanstein.com. Reading reviews that people have left in order for you to visit someplace and know what accessibility features they have. Because let's face it, the websites for businesses don't have a lot of information. It's very sparse. And then also, if you visit someplace, you can share that experience yourself, because your knowledge is very valuable to allow people to go somewhere. So that's the two main ways that people can get involved. So our reviews are unique, as I said, to every individual experience. One person can visit and have a great experience, feel welcomed by staff, and just overall 5-star review. Some people to know did not have a good experience. So even if someplace has already been reviewed, we still love to hear other people's feedback. And it's the missing link in access to information. Like I say, there isn't a lot of information out there. Businesses are scared sometimes, we feel, to say if something's accessible because they just don't have the knowledge themselves. For example, I went to the Enchanted Forest. It said on the website, not wheelchair accessible, that you wouldn't manage it. My friends went and said, no, Claire, I think you would be fine. So I contacted them. I went to see it during the day, not knowing it was a public park, and I could have went any time of the day. But I went and met them, and they showed me around. And then they actually put my review on their website, and loads of people have been since then that are wheelchair users because that information was available. They were part of a bigger mission to make the world more accessible. And I'll talk about a few other ways you can get involved after a few slides. So what do we speak about within a review? So it's maybe hard to see from these images, but the first one is parking and transport. How did you get to the venue? We feel our reviews are like a journey, so it's not just getting into the building, but how was the access from, say, a bus stop to the venue? Was there enough disabled parking spaces to get parked right outside? Was it gravelled, floated to get from your car to the venue? Because wheelchairs and gravel stones are not a good mix. And also, it's great to speak about if you were at a train station, the accessibility of that train station and of the venue itself. The next image is disabled access. So for wheelchair users, was it level access, or was there a ramp to gain access into the venue? For people that have autism, was there like loud noises that would set off their sensory overload? And for if you're partially sighted, how good were the signs to be able to see where toilets are, or even menus in a restaurant? Did they have large text menus as well? Just different things like that we ask people to include in a review, just to give everyone that information. And it's not the most glamorous subject, but toilets are a very important thing to speak about within a review, because people need to know, is there an accessible toilet at this venue, or would I have to go elsewhere? And another great one is there a change in place toilet? They're really valuable within the disabled community, and people need to know will they be able to have access to the facilities that they need. I cannot tell you how many photos I have of accessible toilets on my phone. Then if someone looked at them, they would wonder what's going on. But they are really valuable to include within a review. Then the last one, staff. How were you treated when you visited a venue? I have my carer with me 24/7. If someone speaks to them instead of me, I don't feel welcomed to that venue. Someone's even done it if I've asked the question, so they know that I'm able to communicate, but they still speak to who I'm with. So I feel with staff as well, if you visit one day, someone else visits another day, that's a totally different experience. So that's what's really valuable by reviewing multiple times as well. And having pictures within a review is great as well, because it allows the reader to be able to establish themselves if they can visit a venue. I tried to take a photo of myself in a disabled toilet, so it shows the size of my wheelchair, then it shows how much space there was around as well. And it's just little things like I went to the Edinburgh Book Festival in the summer, and in the toilets on the doors they had RH then LH. So before you even entered the toilet you could see, was it a right hand transfer or a left hand transfer. They're just those little pieces of information that's really helpful, so it doesn't take people longer to decide if they can use it. So where to you review? Basically anywhere. Any public venue that you are visiting, you are able to leave a review. So restaurants and cafes, attractions like the science centres, castles, the country parks, places like this. Even the hydro, I think, has been reviewed about 20 times on our website. Toilets, I've said before, but transport as well. That's a really important thing to speak about. Because like I say, within a review, it's the journey that you're going through. And these are the two other ways you can get involved in Euan's Guide. So we've got our Safer Toilets campaign. I don't know if you've ever been in an accessible toilet and noticed that the red emergency cord is tied up. These are done usually if there's children in the toilets, they always like to pull them, or if people are cleaning the toilets and they tie them away so they don't touch them. But these emergency red cords are so valuable because if someone falls in an accessible toilet, they need to be able to get assistance. So we have our red cord cards, which we usually do have some on our stall, but they are getting upgraded just now. So we don't have any currently. I probably actually have a few in my handbag because I always carry them around. But this is just to ensure that people know why emergency red cords need to hand down freely to allow people to get that assistance if they slip and fall, or if they have, like, say, a seizure or things like that. They need assistance quickly. And then our access survey. So we run this every year around November time to allow our volunteers in our community to have their voices heard on the accessibility of the UT. So we've not launched it yet, so I'm not sure what our categories are this year. But in the past we've had cost of living, then the government, and just general access of transport and venues as well. I think one of the statistics was 71% of people felt like they couldn't socialise within the community because the transport wasn't accessible for them to get from A to B. And that's a high statistic. that really shouldn't be there. So yeah, these are the two other ways, apart from reviewing, that people to get involved. That will have information on our website about the access survey, which we would be appreciative if anyone can share it within their own communities. So yeah, thank you for listening to my talk. Does anyone have any questions? I know my contact details are there too.
Thank you, Claire. Do we have any questions for Claire? We've got one over there on the my far right.
When you were talking about toilets, one of the things that occurred to me, I remembered in a workplace that I worked in, they had the red cord and everything in the toilet. But when somebody pulled it, nobody knew what it was because it was there and it was working, but there was nobody whose job it was to check what was happening. Is that something that you hear about or come across often?
Yes, we do hear about people not having the training put in place. They don't know what the alarm is that sounding is for. Unfortunately, we don't do training on that aspect of things, but we hope with our emergency red cord arms it makes establishments aware of what they are as well.
Claire, if I can ask you,
Yeah.
in your experience then, over the years, do you think that things are getting better in this area, or we keep hearing horror stories on the news of people being left for hours on a plane before they can be disembarked, all these kind of things. Do you think things are getting better?
I think slowly some things are getting better. I think venues are becoming more aware of the purple pound and things, of people being able to access their business. But yes, travel, I don't go on holiday abroad. Then I don't fly because it is very bad. And I think we heard a lot within our community during COVID. Things kind of went backwards for a while. It was difficult to get around shops due to the one-way systems that were being put in place and things like that. And we did adapt to COVID as well. We have some of our volunteers that we meet up with and things, and we did more online sessions. Myself and Zoe do an online how to review session where we share the information because we're aware some people still are scared to go out. Sometimes we had badges that talked about social distancing and things like that. But yeah, COVID did, I think, alter some things, but hopefully we're seeing positive steps ahead.
Well, so certainly what you guys are doing at Euan's Guide can only be helping that. So,
Yeah.
Are there any more questions for Claire? If not, I'll say a massive thank you for sharing that with us. I'm sure we've all learned a hell of a lot. Thank you. Well done.